Welcome to the Acer Predator pre-show.
It is the Acer Predator pre-show, and we are going to be talking all about what we have before us. 3 best of 3s. There are so many in the world of Counter-Strike, but 2019 has had its fair share of barn burners already. Now 3 best of 3s and 6 teams vying for 3 spots. I am joined by these 2 lovely fellas. We have none other than Pimp and Sean Gares, of course. Gents, this is going to be quite the day. It's time for some conclusions, it's time for some heartbreak, and it's time for a little bit of spice as well.
We're going to round up the day, aren't we, Alex? It's going to be super, super interesting. I feel we have 3 great matchups where I can't point at a team and say they're going to go through with 100% certainty. It's going to be super close, Sean.
Yeah, the matches are super exciting because we have the 3 legendary teams, right, with all these major winners, and then the 3 up-and-coming teams looking to, knock them out. They've had so much success leading up to this point.
It really does feel like we've kind of got the last teams left. It's a microcosm of the old versus the new. We are seeing it. It's happening again and again. 2019 is going to be the year of the new blood, and we'll see how long the old guard can stand. If someone who have an opinion on that is your casters. I'm hanging out with these guys all day. We do have, of course, none other than Moses and Vince going to be casting that first game. You guys have got yourself that VICI NiP game. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be real nice, especially because I think for both of us, VICI's been the more impressive team, certainly through the BO1s. NiP has struggled. They have no more chances. So this series, this is where they have to really prove that they can make it through.
Certainly the more surprising of the 2 teams, I would say, because I think most people wrote VICI off completely. I was one of them, and yet here they are. They narrowly actually lost to Vitality in an overtime. Went all the distance. We got to cast that game. It was absolutely nuts. Yeah,
it was wild. And for NiP, we just saw them yesterday as well, and we need those stars to show back up. We need Forrest to have a good game again.
Can I ask you one more question?
You can ask me as many questions as you want, Alex.
Okay, is there a single game today, both of you, this is for both of you, is there a single game today that you can say you have a firm understanding of who's going to take it, who's going to win? Is there an easy prediction in today's
not at all.
games?
I think, actually, I have NiP taking this first match, but this is real upset potential for VICI. They have looked very solid.
Yeah, I saw your tweet as well, Vince, so you're not confident.
No, not at all. Not any of the games. I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Yeah, and that is the plan for all of us. We'll be back with those guys, of course, when they do jump into the server and cast NiP versus VICI. The fact that they're going into that with this feeling of uncertainty is testament to how far these underdogs have managed to push the best already.
Definitely, and if you look at a team like VICI, they played Fnatic, which they won. They played NRG, which they lost, but that's, again, NRG in a top shape right now, going 3-0 in the stage here. They played Cloud9, I believe, also won that game, and they played Vitality. 4 of the best team at this stage of the major, and they've been looking solid in all the games. I really feel that VICI have a great chance of going toe-to-toe with NiP.
See, I initially had that same vibe yesterday until I saw Fnatic and Cloud9 play.
Yeah.
And then I questioned whether those wins that VICI got are actually as solid as I initially thought they were.
Is it that name value conversation? Chad's been bringing it up a lot, and I actually think it's really, truly worth exploring more. We will continue to do that, but first, NiP, they are going up against VICI, and I mean, they haven't had a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination, Sean. We want to talk about Vega game, because it wasn't beautiful. It wasn't beautiful Counter-Strike by any stretch.
No, it wasn't, and this first map was not so pretty to watch. The overpass game where NiP just blew so many weird opportunities. They had to close out this match. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from them right now. Forrest is a top 5 statistic player of this event, which is shocking considering he's the same birthday as me. He's 30 years old. He's way too old to be doing this. So he's playing out of his mind. Lekro, on the other hand, has really struggled throughout the entire event. Last challenger stage at Face It, he was actually the highest rated player. Here, he's the worst for Ninjas in Pajamas, so he's going to need to step up if they're going to continue their success.
It's fun that you say, because I was not working the desk yesterday during this match, so I spent some of the time down at the playing area to observe the teams and see how they reacted. And to me, it seemed like NiP was not really composed the way you want a legendary and an experienced team to be. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say raging, but there was a lot of frustration shown in that game. I think they felt the pressure a lot. I think NiP expect themselves to be better right now, and if anything, VICI are the underdogs in this one as well, so they need to work on that composure, and they need to make sure that they go in there heads up and don't let that pressure get to them.
Yeah, they have their 2 wins, they have their 2 losses. Their only wins, though, the Ninjas, is coming from Furia and a full 3 maps versus Vega Squadron, which is up on your screens now. You can see how close that was. I'm questioning, and of course we'll explore in the pre-match a lot more, how far this is going to go versus VICI. I do want to put a pin in it because there are so many more games to focus on, and I missed this one, so I'm looking at you boys. G2, Fnatic. G2's Counter-Strike has had you guys all frowning for the last week. What happened, and where did Fnatic go, Jacob?
Shocks happened, I guess. He had so much impact yesterday. He was looking like the old self all of a sudden. Kenny S had a decent game as well. And in general, it felt like for the first time we got to see the potential of G2. When all the star players of that team is showing up, no matter who you play, they're going to be a scary force to be reckoned with. That said, though, can they do that on a consistent basis? So far in this tournament, I feel we only seen it once, but it's been enough for them to be 2-2 now. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Fnatic was a huge disappointment. They're like a Ferrari without an engine. They look really good on the outside, but you know, they don't really go anywhere.
They don't do anything.
No, they don't do anything. So I had Fnatic going 3-0 in this stage, so I'm shocked that they fell so early. I mean, when you look at the other teams that went out so far, we have Greyhound, Spirit, Vega, Furia, Fnatic. That doesn't really fit in with the rest of them, right? So I think that was the shocker of the tournament, seeing G2 take that yesterday. We didn't see anything up until those last two maps. But now I'm left to wonder, is G2 for real? Can they actually, run the table and make it to the Legend stage?
Now, I was casting my eyes over the interview HLTV did with Shocks after this victory, and he was talking, the conversation felt very, well, not only vague, but it felt very kind of floaty surrounding the fact that, yeah, we kind of felt like we weren't playing our own game, just in different words. I mean, did you gather any more from that?
Yeah, it's just a little bit annoying to see, I feel, because you see all the teams coming out and saying that. You had an interview also on HLTV with, I think it was JW from Fnatic, who said the exact same thing. They were feeling the pressure, they're not playing their own game. At this point, if you're not good enough to come in here and play your own game, you're simply not good enough. It doesn't matter whatever you're playing your own game or not. The game you're delivering on the server is the game we get to see, and if that's not good enough, then that's what you have to count on, basically.
And Sean, the question I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear your opinion on is G2 bringing up practice, suggesting how well their practice has gone. Their manager saying, I've seen how hard they've worked. I don't know why it's not manifesting in the server. Is that a viable conversation to be having?
I actually side with them. I've been a victim of this so many times in my career, so I understand what they're coming from. I've picked Inferno when my team has won every single Inferno scrim for months, and we lose 4 straight matches on it. You can't wrap your head around it. You have to go with what you feel in practice. And I don't know what the solution is to that, even after all these years.
Yeah, well, what I feel is that Furia truly impressed yesterday as well. I mean, I think we're going to be copying and pasting a lot of the statements about VICI and Tyloo here for Furia as well. They've managed to climb from the open qualifiers, and they managed to push them all the way into yesterday, a best-of-3 versus Cloud9. And my goodness, it was not an easy feat for Cloud9 to close this one out. And the weirdest score distribution I've seen in forever, Jacob.
A 16-1 turning into a 16-1 on the opposite team's map picks. I don't think that ever happened during a major before. That gotta be a record. Also, one of the maps, Rush, only managed to die 1 time throughout 16 rounds, or 17 rounds, or whatever that was. There were so many weird scenarios going on yesterday between Furia and Cloud9. That said, though, I think we wrapped it up pretty well yesterday. Furia can be very proud of what they've done throughout this tournament. They came from the open qualifier. Nobody really expected them to do well, and they were able to push some very established team at this tournament. I couldn't agree more with the Fury can't hang their heads low for this, because they played so well throughout this event. The funny thing about this series is the 14-1, 14-1 kind of thing on CT side, then the AUG talk, hit Twitter, is just so much back and forth. Then we got to Cash to see a dominated T side. I think there was 17 rounds won on the T side, so that quickly faded out. Obviously, when you're losing a CT side 14-1, you can't blame it on a gun. It was simply just some horrible Counter-Strike displayed by both teams.
Yeah, no, you certainly can't. It is part of the conversation, though. You can see that Furia, of course, implementing that AUG well. And I truly thought that this Cash game was going to go all the way. Like, I didn't see Furia throwing that one away. They were rocking it with the double AWPs, but unable to close it out and take us into OT. But that would have been the dream, right? You go 16-1, 16-1, overtime.
I think they can thank Celsius for that, right? Yeah. He was a madman yesterday with the clutches, a lot of impact. Not necessarily the top fragger or the guy you looked the most towards on Cloud9, but he was the most impactful player on that map, and he stepped up when it was needed the most. Yeah, there was 3 crucial rounds. He had the pistol round where he held that B site, the round where he held the B site where the CTs came through the smoke on a gun round, then obviously the clutch in the A site, which was a phenomenal play by him.
Yeah, and if you have just joined us or haven't been following all week, we do have that lovely little treat of explaining how the seeding has been working. This is the format for this one. Highly praised by players, or the majority of them. It's using a very intriguing method whereby they are seeded after every single round. You start with a seed based on how your opponent rated you, and it's just changed and dropped since then. ELO base, you can see what we have left, and you can see all the teams locked in as well with their final seeding positions. teams, NRG ending at #1 now, you can see with their 3-0.
One of the most interesting thing about this is that the teams had to seed themselves. Obviously, that's a lot of talk for controversy. Some teams seeded Tylo to be the worst team in the tournament. Obviously, that wasn't the case. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now with this system. But what we can conclude is that it's actually working. We got teams right now who have been playing well. They've matched up well against each other. A lot of upset potential. And I don't think anyone feels hard done by. I feel the upset wins are legit. I feel that we're now at a stage where we can say that this has worked out perfectly fine. Despite the players may not like it in some scenarios, it is what it is. I think this is the future.
I mean, if you look at what Fnatic were given in order to kind of try and claw a comeback, it was VICI Gaming, Winstrike, Greyhound, and G2.
Yes.
Many teams would kill for that list set of opponents, and yet it was not enough for the Swedes to overcome. So with that said, we have got ourselves 3 best of 3s, and the same question I asked the casters now coming your way, Sean. Is there a single game you truly think is easy, quote-unquote, to predict?
I think this first one is the closest, but honestly, the other two, it's all a blur. It could go any way. Even in this first series, VICI is ripe for an upset on NiP. I don't think NiP has played very well throughout this event. I think VICI has surprised me at every turn. Their opponents are much stronger than NiPs when you look at them on paper. So, no, I don't feel confident about any of them, especially the Winstrike Cloud9 game, because Winstrike has a massive map pool advantage in that one.
And we haven't even talked about Winstrike yet, Jacob. I mean, I was going to ask you the same question, but I just saw you nodding. I'm assuming it's all unpredictable from your standpoint.
I definitely agree, and especially in regards to the Winstrike game, because it very much depends on what Cloud9 turns up today. What we saw yesterday in the last 2 maps was okay. It was not some of the best Counter-Strike they played, but it looked like they was finding the rhythm again, so to speak. As for Winstrike, they did lose a 1-2 game against ENCE, and that is not a bad result for them at all. ENCE is one of the best teams during this stage of the major, and they were able to go 1-2 and pick up a map of ENCE. So, as you said, the map pool is coming into play. I feel all these matchups have each their storyline to look out for, and none of them is going to be an easy done by.
Yeah, I mean, Winstrike is a conversation that, you know, we are yet to truly have. They've managed to pick up wins versus Fnatic and the Ninjas, both on train, though, and now it's the best of 3s. Is it safe to have expectations surrounding Winstrike now? Have they done enough?
I think so, because their map pool's a little bit odd. They play the strategic maps. They play Train, Nuke, and Dust 2. Those are all 3 maps that Cloud9 doesn't play historically.
Oof.
So this could get really dicey for Cloud9
and
if they don't do
my pick'em. So please, jokes aside, do let us know how your pick'ems are going. But right now, we're going to go ahead and check in with the coach of NiP, Peter, standing by with Frankie ahead of their big match versus VICI.
Peter's just run in from the veto, but we'll keep the maps under wraps for now. How are you guys feeling after that win against VICI yesterday?
Yesterday, after the win, we feel good. It was a really, really mentally tough game. I think since I joined, must have been the most difficult game going into. It was really difficult. Vega were playing really good. It felt like we had everything to lose yesterday. So winning that one felt great. Going into this one, we need to just keep going.
You did play very carefully yesterday, trying to avoid those mistakes. So will we see you taking more risks today?
I tried to, thinking about the mentality going into the game yesterday, you know, no one wants to be the one losing you the match. But I tried to just tell the players, if you mess up, I don't care. We just need to keep going, do as we do in practice, and we will win. So hopefully we can continue on that as we did in the end of the game yesterday.
So if the confidence was low yesterday, surely the pressure is an all-time high now, because if you lose this, you're going home. Yeah. So how is the morale right now?
I think the morale is great. We have had some preparations now this morning, also yesterday morning. I cannot say too much. We just need to believe in ourselves. If we fight for it, we will win.
Well, I don't think those guys are going to go down without a fight. So, Peter, go and have your final team talk, and let's head back to the desk.
That is not fake. That's not acting. That's a genuinely stressed coach. Calling that game previously versus Vega Squadron one of the most mentally taxing he's had since he joined the team. There's a lot we learned from that one. Fantastic interview from Frankie, of course, with the coach of NiP. We do just have to take a moment to reflect before we start talking about that game. Sean, that sounds like NiP got into their heads yesterday.
Yeah, and if you look into the interview Lekro had with HLTV, they are in their heads. They're not very confident. They don't feel like they're as prepared as they would like to be. And there's even doubts as far as the veto goes. When they played Winstrike, Lekro wanted to play Train. A couple other players on the team didn't want to play it. So there was obviously a little bit of fuss like inner turmoil within the team. You really don't want to have that at the major.
I actually can't imagine a worse circumstance of the in-game leader saying, I want to play this map, and your teammates saying, I don't want to. Regardless of whether you end up there, that's a terrible way to start your day. Wouldn't you say, Jacob?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a few things that could be worse, but that's one of them, right? You want to have an in-game leader that takes the lead of the team. He takes charge of the team. He knows what's best for the team, and you want the team members of that certain team to believe in that. You know from yourself, Sean, if the team is not believing in the in-game leader starts to doubt on himself as well, and that is a big problem. I'm glad Peter brought it up, though, because I was observing them yesterday, and they didn't seem to be happy throughout that game. It was a lot of frustration, a lot of banging heads down to the table. It's just not the NiP we know, right? They need to be more experienced, they need to be more composed, and I think that's the main thing they need to work on for this game.
Okay, composure. Well, you guys can compose yourselves because game time is just around the corner. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give you the veto. We're going to give you our expectations and those win conditions as VICI look to take one final scalp and secure a spot in the Legends. NiP stand in their way. We'll find out how it plays after this.
The champions of ESL 1 Cologne.
Do you remember?
Welcome to the Cathedral of Counter-Strike.
Think you've seen it all?
Are you ready to be a part of Counter-Strike history?
ESL 1 returns to Cologne in 2019.
Think you can't capture a clutch in full resolution while streaming the play to the world? Watch this. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Synergy of brute strength, born of elite core power, to thrive under pressure in the most hostile conditions, and built to overclock. Prepare for combat. Go forth and conquer.
I've been there since the beginning. Every map, every frag, every moment. I run, but I never hide. With knowledge comes power, and power is to be wielded wisely. Which is why, as the expert, I bet with Betway. If you know CSGO, then you'll know the best way to bet on esports is with Betway, for the love of the game.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Bedway, and Pay Safeguard.
We're gonna play just a minute major, and we're gonna talk about Overpass. Overpass is a great map. You can play both the CT and T. You have Can we start over? Overpass is a great map, both offensively and defensively. You have a lot of places to push, going through underground, going through banana. You can even go through whatever.
There are a lot of things you can boost on in Overpass. There are like 50 boosts. I think you can boost on B side, you can boost on the sandbags B. I think Force should help me out. I think you can boost underground.
You have a long which you can have a picnic on. There's a baguette, there's a wine bottle, there's a blanket, there's a stone, there's a tree. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but somewhere on that map you can find a car.
And there's a lot of smokes you can throw from far places onto the other sides, and you can fake B from smoking from A side and B side to A side.
Is the 60 seconds up? No. Well, I'm out of ideas. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Well, let's hope they can frag better than they can explain maps, that's for sure. NiP take on VICI, and it was perhaps all smiles then, but it is going to be a furrowed brow and concentration on the face of both teams jumping into this one, because their major dreams, the dreams of the crowd, of coming back for the next major, all of it hinges on this best of three. Standing in their way is VICI Gaming, and by no means is this an open and shut case for the Swedes. So far struggling as a bit of an absence in official practice games. We know that they haven't played too much Counter-Strike, and they're still warming up into it. We saw Peter, the coach, talking to Frankie over in the pre-match, and we did also note just how stressed he looked coming into this one. VICI Gaming have done enough to have the ninjas quaking in their boots.
One thing is being stressed when you're going up against a team like Vega Squad 1, who is very aggressive and is playing a sort of unorthodox style of Counter-Strike, but VICI Gaming is a whole different matter. I saw them play the Asian Minor. They're being super aggressive. They're super intelligent in the way they play. They're very good individually. If any team can stress out NiP like Vega Squad 1 did, I bet that VICI can do twice as much.
A fun conversation, Sean. I believe you or Chad started it initially, but it was about Advent and the fact that he actually gave an interview afterwards, a translated interview, where he actually said and vocalized that he'd felt like every game he was learning how to in-game lead more and more. Can you see that in their play?
Yeah, that's something that Chad mentioned he heard throughout the minor, and yeah, I can see that because they've been in Europe for so long. Even me as an in-game leader in North America, when I would boot camp in Europe, there's so much you learn, and there's so many different layers you start adding to your team on all the maps once 1 week passes, 2 weeks pass, and then after 3 weeks, they've been here for a long time now. Their team is probably very complete right now.
They're feeling good for sure, and now are you feeling good, Jacob, with the maps? Bye-bye Dust 2. And there goes Cash. So Train, Inferno, Mirage. We've seen a lot of Mirage from the Ninjas.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised NiP didn't pick into Nuke. I feel that would be the one punish pick they could go for here against VICI Gaming. That said, though, NiP's best map, I would say, is Train. Despite it's been looking a little bit lackluster throughout this tournament, they feel very comfortable on it. But if I were NiP, I would have picked Nuke.
Yeah, so as an in-game leader, I would 100% pick Nuke. It's a punish pick for NiP, and I have no idea why they didn't pick it. I'm very critical of that decision, just because VICI actually has, a demo on Nuke that they could watch. They could watch that Fatality game, which Fatality blew them out that game. I don't know why NiP wouldn't pick into Nuke. Train, they looked a little bit lackluster on. Surely VICI probably isn't as good on Train as the other maps. That's why they've yet to play it. But NiP is going into, darkness right now. They have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, of course, NiP, they had that game versus Windstrike. One of their 2 losses was against Windstrike on Train in a rather one-sided affair. It was like 16-6. So I don't know, man. I don't know how this one's going to be shaping up. I'll continue to watch this one with my analysts and, of course, you guys watching at home. Tell your friends, because it is game time. We're jumping in to kick off Day 5, the final day of the Challenger stage. It starts with NiP VICI, the map train. Will the Swedes be rattled by this Chinese aggression? We find out with Moses and Vince.
Thank you, Alex. The game has changed today, playing for a spot in the legend stage of IEM Katowice or playing and going home. Two very different things. VICI and NiP. VICI been very impressive throughout this event so far, have raised a lot of eyebrows, and the Ninjas, they can't drop anything. They need everyone to show up. Rez was quiet until yesterday. Forrest has been dominant, but everyone needs to pick up their game collectively here today.
They certainly do. I mean, NiP, we've seen two very different sides to this team on train. Losing to Windstrike earlier, then of course having a victory against Vega Squadron just yesterday. On the T side though, NiP will be starting things off with a pretty heavy box hold presence. Couple of smokes, Molotov flashbang. Enough utility to explode onto the site with Freeman is waiting there, and he is joined by Kaze at the back towards Connector.
One thing to keep your eye on the radar, Dennis is over towards Ivy. How aggressive is he going to be on this lurk? How long is he going to wait before he believes the VICI rotation has happened, or is he going to show himself early to try and pull a rotation back towards this outer bomb site? A lot of questions to be asked. Here comes his first peek. He's spotted absolutely nothing. There's a nice little trap set up here. Now he's shown himself, and now he can back away slowly. NiP still not moving until just now. Smokes come out. Big task for the defense ahead.
Kaze is able to get above the smoke, but can't really connect too much in the process. Freeman from point-blank range, gonna get the freebie on Rez. Not gonna be able to stop the bomb from being planted, but does instantly neutralize Lecro, putting it into a 2-on-4 now with Forrest and Get Right with their backs against the wall, trying to fend off this retake, and they cannot do a single thing about it. VICI pick up first round in this best of 3.
That is super bold from NiP. They're trying to get a little bit tricky, it looks like. Even with Get Right with that Molotov, the bomb's completely on the other side of the train. And they didn't even clear, they didn't even get anyone. Rez is the only person being aggressive. When we've seen those strategies work, it's multiple people pushing down those lanes so you can at least get that trade kill and secure the bomb site. And planning in the open like that, maybe a little bit of disrespect. Maybe they just didn't expect, maybe they saw something in the demos. But that backfires entirely. The planter can't even get away in time to have any impact on the game. 1-0 for VICI, a good start. We're gonna get the Augs out immediately. And why not? You've seen NiP throughout this tournament, especially yesterday, able to win some of these second rounds, able to win some rounds with Deagles and Glocks in the middle of the half. VICI wanted to make sure that doesn't happen today.
And of course, one of the reasons why double AWP setups are so prevalent, so strong on this map, are there are open areas to exploit, and the AUG certainly is a weapon that is seeing more and more use. It's so good at range, so good up close. Can spray with it very easily. But VICI are going to have to fend off against 4 Desert Eagles and the CZ. This is still very much of a threatening round. They cannot take this line down. They have got the first kill, though, Moses. That's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure.
And look how confident they are just with these Augs to be able to stand in the open and just hold the angle against the Deagle. Forrest looking for something, anything. Dennis is back towards Ivy again. Everyone's spread out for NiP. Everyone's just looking for at least one kill that can maybe open something up for the rest of them. Forrest, the most aggressive of anyone, and actually there's this chance right there. Almond's out in the open, but that AUG is just too strong. Second kill in the round for Almond. Dennis now moving up towards Ivy. Advent has his eyes on this, and Get Right down ladder is going to fall to Zoking. This should be a clean round for VICI. They don't lose anyone. All 5 players survive. But AK's come out now for NiP.
Just the 1 death in 2 rounds. VICI off to a cracking start, but as you say, AK-47's on the horizon. Lecro 4.7K can easily pick one up as well. And he will have full grenades behind it. I'm kind of curious if we're going to start to see more of the SG picked on maps like this. For the same reason, the AUG's powerful, the SG could certainly have quite a bit of impact.
I think the difference is I feel like the scope weapon makes it so much easier to hold an angle versus peeking into an angle with it. Obviously, a lot of players, the AK is still very strong. Molotov down on the lower ramp, NiP, a lot of pressure. It looks like they actually did want to hit that. All 5 players are here. The defense is starting to shift. But that, at least at the moment, VICI has no idea how many players are in those box halls, and that force out of the Molotov is actually pretty big. They don't have to worry about running through flames on that lower ramp. There's only 1 Molotov left on the CT side. That's on Zoking, and he's actually in ladder room, so won't be able to use it on the execute.
The worry here for NiP, though, is they have nobody watching the flank at all. They're all clumped up in box halls. They're fully committed to this. For all they know, VICI are flanking, so they're going to just go ahead and push straight in. Flashbang does affect Freeman, but he's still able to land the kill alongside Kaze, who is lighting them up at the back of the site. Again, NiP are going to be able to get onto the site and maybe get the bomb planted, but it should be another retake coming to fruition, barring Elecro. Magical clutch. He's been spotted and he's been fragged. VICI off to a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, a little bit of a jump on the rotation for VICI. Get right, not expecting that player to be so close on sidewalk, and that's part of the problem. That third player was in there right when the hit was coming through, so he's able to get a jump on that push. Well played from VICI. Pretty simple tactics so far from NiP. It's only been 3 rounds and a 3-0 lead for VICI, but a lot of emphasis on that B bomb site. Not a lot of spread across the map, not a lot of looking for picks from the Ninjas side of things. They got to be careful as well. They haven't done great at finding kills. They only have 3 so far. So money's going to start to grow for the defense. Sean was pretty, as you mentioned, critical of the pick of Train instead of going for a nuke punish. And I guess we'll see exactly how this works out. But as this half goes on, perhaps see why you'd expect something special out of NiP. This round, only Get Right has utility. And they're going to walk right into an AWP. This is going to be the... Ooh, no, he misses a shot. Molotov deep. It's going to force all of the Ninjas away, but again, all 5 players towards inside.
Yeah, because of their lack of utility, they can't afford to throw their one smoke down to extinguish the Molotov and push aggressive. So nades like that going to be doubly effective now from VICI. As you say, clumped up. VICI haven't really shown the initiative to go for flanks just yet, but this is something they may do in later rounds.
Look how centralized their defense is already, though. 1 player in ladder room, 1 player along that outer wall. He can rotate quickly. 2nd player at this inner bomb site. This time, no one's coming down that lower ramp, but Freeman on the bomb train. They need to clear him out. Good job from Forrest. These Augs can still do work, but Rez able to finally take on Advent, get that entry into the bomb site. Oh, and a team kill from Kaze. I don't know if maybe he got startled or maybe his teammate just ran in front of the crosshair, but that is a nice little benefit to NiP. They get their first round, finally cracking into that B bomb site.
Well, Ninjas are certainly thankful, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And in doing so, VICI now going to have to replenish their fallen weapons. So they've been on cruise control up until this point, but this again is how cruel the CT side is. You can have a great start, but as soon as you lose a round, it's going to be a costly investment. They have no money in the bank after this round.
No kits as well. If NiP can do a solid execute and get the bomb planted. Now, NiP has run that strategy, what, 3 of the 4 rounds that they've played so far? Basically 4 people towards inner, at least 3 of those rounds. The only round that didn't happen is the second when they had Deagles and spread across the map. Here, again, they're going to spread and change things up. That AWP at the moment, at the back of the inner bomb site on Kaze.
Joined by Freeman, playing a bit more passive angles. Freeman's been on the bomb train, connector, on ramp. This time playing more to the Augs' effectiveness, but as you say, Moses, a bit of a more split and pick approach from the Ninjas. They're starting to make a move through Ivy, smoke and Molotov deployed, allowing them some real estate. This is where Advent really does need to shine. If he doesn't get a kill, at least stay alive long enough to allow the rest of the team to come in, but he has picked up Forrest, extinguishes him from the push, and in the meanwhile, Orban is going ham with his AWP, putting it down to just Rez. A nightmare, potentially, for Ninjas of Pajamas, as finally they win a round and gonna get broke straight back in.
Yeah, not potentially a nightmare, that is the nightmare. 4-1 for VICI, a great response. Forrest needed that entry. I like the idea. Get your star player in a position to make a play onto the bomb site, wrap around and eliminate the linchpin of the defense on that bomb train. Fortunately, can't handle the SMG in the narrow corridor. But they've got some money. Because of the previous win, they had a pretty strong win. They can still get 3 AK-47s. They have decent utility as well. But this was a tough hit for them. Even Get Right, I believe, getting flanked out in the ladder room.
Back to a similar approach again in round 6. Advent thought about that push, but the flashbang is going to stall him. In comes Forrest looking for his double spray. He's going to connect. And Advent and Orman, the Ivy players, have been neutralized. This forces Kaze's hand to move over and fill in the gaps, but now VICI are so thinly spread across the map.
Yeah, they even spotted Kaze. It's a nice little individual play from Forrest, the first kill, and then a delayed peek onto the second player. And no one from NiP on the other sides of the map have made a move quite yet. Get Right still holding box halls. He's all on his own. One player in ladder room for VICI, one player in connector, and NiP still just waiting patiently, seeing if there's going to be some kind of an information play.
The positions of VICI, though, if NiP decide to push out of A main, things could get a little bit sketchy for them. This could still turn around.
Oh yeah, they have a good read. They're gamble stacking the outer bomb site in this 3-on-5. If Kaze can get a pick or two at that op and thin the herd before the rifles have to get into position, that would be so nice. He's gonna have a chance. Here they come. Flashbang is perfectly timed. He misses his opening shot, but there's ladder room. Still big advantage for NiP.
30 seconds left in which to utilize it too, but Zoking is the last remaining VICI player. He's been spotted in Pop Dog.
Forrest has the bomb, and he's back in T-mid, and that's a big-time peak. Look at the HPs. That's so close. That was almost a very scary situation if Forrest couldn't have made it to the bomb train. I think NiP have finally done it, though. I think this should force a save out of the VICI side.
Goes to show how brutal the opening pick that Forrest was able to get with his double spray, which you're going to see now from Ivy. Instantly VICI on the back foot.
They must have misread the money. They must have thought that was going to be a save round. Both of those players were very committed. It's not necessarily unusual to see that first player push down with some utility from the support, but for both of them to get caught in that alley is a bit rough.
So VICI now, no Kevlar, few pistols sprinkled here and there. They'll be looking to play more forward positions as a result. Really, any key kills would be a nice juicy bonus, but it's not really looking too likely at this stage.
Get Right tossing a smoke down lower ramp, not utilizing it, maybe just trying to get some counter nades, a counter Molotov or flashbang. Definitely showing a little bit of presence towards inner to make VICI feel nervous. A third player has come to this inner bomb site.
Molotov just to make sure no pesky CT's hiding in Ivy with the close angles where the pistols really do shine. More players now maneuvering across to the B side. 4-player strong VICI. Advent originally on the A side of the map. Time is starting to dwindle a little bit though. NiP gonna have to get a move on, starting to make a move outside. Advent is using the bomb as his sanctuary, but it has been found out from Dennis. And VICI will crumble alongside him. NiP on the brink of just cutting this deficit to 1 round.
Ooh, hello. Freeman's had a good start to this game. He's won 3 of the 3 opening duels that he's had. And obviously some fine deagle work here. Anything else he can get would be great. Forrest holding this with the AWP, and that's a nice shoulder peek. Forrest gonna get into some safety as Get Right. Who else on the flank, on the lurk, and Freeman's gonna go down here. Oh, okay. Don't do that to me, Get Right. Not you. You're too pure. 3-4, still in the favor of VICI on the defense, but this is nice for NiP. Looked a little bit sketchy those first 3 rounds, or, you know, maybe in the first 5 rounds, considering that's when VICI got their 4. A lot of those hits towards the inner bomb site falling flat, but now that they've taken control of the economy, don't have to worry about an AWP at the moment. Already at 3, this is a good place to be for the Ninjas, especially if they can win this. VICI have gone for the buy. A couple players right on the edge. The AUG players don't have enough money to get utility behind it, and a couple players relegated to FAMAS. So a pretty big advantage of arsenal of firepower for NiP.
After a rocky start, seemingly starting to calm the nerves a little bit. We saw Pitta in his interview earlier. Looked pretty anxious, to say the least. A lot on the line, understandably.
Yeah, I don't know if that was because of their opposition. I would imagine it's just because they've fallen flat in a few games throughout this challenger stage, and obviously an elimination game at the major is going to make anyone nervous. Fire rains down, and Freeman gives death. They line up for him, but he cannot connect. That was close to being a double.
I honestly thought he had it too, but he has put Rez down to 4 health. So this retake going to be a lot more manageable. Downside, no Molotovs, no HEs, and a spray damage through the smoke, but Omen will stand tall. delivers. They'd love to have a Molotov at this stage, but it's just a HE and a flashbang. There is a smoke in play for Advent anyway. And VICI move as one. A swarm of counter-terrorists trying to reclaim what was once theirs. Forest gonna swat away Zoking. Have a quick peek across to the bomb, which is being defused in the smoke, but Dennis, his sixth sense was tingling, and he will not allow that to occur. The round is done. VICI are doing significant damage to NiP, but it's gonna be 4-4. The bomb will detonate.
I'm really curious about this plant spot from NiP. Obviously something they've discussed as a plan to come into it, but, you know, some chances. We saw it in the pistol round. That round, immediately after planting, Lekro just dies to spam through the smoke, so that spot's a certain element of danger for the Ninjas, but doesn't matter so far too much. 4-4. Alman has that AUG. I'm assuming you can see that plant pretty easily from the upper ramp.
Yeah, bomb, a bit of a precarious position at the end, but they just about held on, courtesy of Dennis. Now, as you highlighted, Orman has the AUG, which he was able to save. In the meanwhile, couple P250s. Bit of utility for VICI, but Rez not going to be too deterred by that, decides to push straight out. Good to see NiP playing a bit more aggro. Beautiful spray control from Rez and Forest. Yields 2 more casualties. And VICI now just have Advent. It is important to highlight, though, that NiP have very low players. Rez, Lekro, Forest, all below 40 HP. The P250 could be a cannon at this stage.
Nice job by Rez, just holding the side of the bomb train, waiting for someone to walk around to try and stop the plant. 3 kills in the round for him. He's at 7-4. Forest, again, leading the way, 9-5. And NiP take their first lead of the map. 5 rounds on their T side so far, looking pretty good. Weapons coming out again, though, as the not the full losing bonus. They have 4-round losing bonus at the moment, so almost there for VICI, but that's enough to give them the AWP. 3 AUGs in play, 1 M4.
Just the 1 kit, though. They're gonna have to be careful. Rez again aggro. This time's a Molotov to greet him.
I like that play, though. In another round, he likely gets that kill. Getright's got to be careful. Oh, that flashbang didn't work as well as he would have thought. Went for the jump. Aggressive play. 3 members of VICI inside. I don't know if he spotted all 3. Certainly he saw 2. There's the AUG as Rez tries to take advantage of a weird situation. And now Force, he's up to task, and even he's dropped by Alman. Great round for VICI, and this is exactly what they need if they want to get back into their winning ways. 5 players still up.
Lekro can't deal with any of them. Orman will survive with just 19 health and a 4K to his name. Not bad at all. And it's a strange thing to say, but I'm glad that we're seeing NiP at least die while playing aggressively, because yesterday they seemed so tentative, they seemed so passive.
Yeah, that opening map of their series, they did seem like a little bit of like the elimination nerves were getting to him, which is interesting considering how experienced Dennis, Force, and Getright all are. Even Rez and Lekro at this point, you have to say, pretty experienced in big events. We're all tied up, Vince. NiP, they've invested everything they have left into this round. Early Molotov going to come in. They don't want to deal with that early aggression. They're fortunate to get away without having been picked in the previous round.
Some info gathering happening also on Ivy while a skirmish breaks out on the A side. So far it's going the way of the Asian team. Dennis looking to tip the scales back in NiP's favor, but VICI will regain the lead. So we are going back and forth now between the 2 teams.
That was so close to turning in the favor of NiP. Advent coming through the smoke and picking off Rez when he had a nade in his hands, I think is really what kind of saved the day. They would have had an open avenue into the A bomb site. So VICI sustain after being reset earlier. Able to string 2 rounds together, and now they have plenty of utility, plenty of money. They even have the AWP on Kaze still. It's the Ninjas who are back to pistols. We've seen them win a lot of these. Not too much invested. 1 Deagle, 1 P250 for the offense. So unless that Deagle is going to find you some picks on Forest, I'm not sure that NiP can create an opening.
Yeah, typically the rounds that NiP have won in this similar situation, they've had a couple more Desert Eagles, maybe a bit of Kevlar. So if a bomb does go awry, they can pick it up and use it against the enemy team, but this is pretty bare bones. Forrest and his Desert Eagle currently residing back towards the bathroom side. Gonna start to move up there now. VICI pretty centralized, as you can see from the flyover. A triple stack on A, watching all the angles.
I like how passive they're being. In a round where you know you have such an advantage of long-range weapons, just stay back, no one get close to the choke points, let them out if need be. Even towards the inner bomb site. And potentially giving up the plant, which isn't the biggest deal in the world.
Freeman does have a Molotov too, so if he starts to see the players jump across, the Molotov can be put down, stop the bomb from being planted. Unfortunately for NiP, they have no smoke to counteract that play.
Yeah, this should be a slaughter. Unless Forrest baits Dennis properly and hits a stunner, you could see Forrest coming out second and actually taking a little bit to get those kills. There's now a way for them to drop down with the bomb, but Allman's going to adjust. He's found Forrest. Bomb is in the site. This plant would be quite nice, and it is going to go down from Get Right, who is taken out immediately. So is Rez, but the extra $800 is going to be very, very nice for them in the next round. Full losing bonus not built up. It'll be 3 rounds plus the 800. And now they can get whatever they want. Forrest got 6,200. We haven't seen anyone on NiP bring out the op yet on this T side, so that might be a nice change in the way they attack, but they go for the 5 AKs.
Suggests aggression, suggests a set play. As he said, I mean, honestly, I feel like that was mission accomplished. They got a bomb plant, they got a kill with what, I think it was P250 and Desert Eagle. That's pretty much all they had.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to bring out. Took so long for Freeman to get the kill on the first 2 players. Forrest was eventually able to tag him down just enough. 7-5 in the favor of the Chinese side. More aggression towards Ivy. They've done this a number of times. Again, they're both completely blind. They're both in Ivy. Lekro's going to get aggressive, daring Kaze to hit it a spectacular shot. It's not to be, and now they can press the issue. Lekro with 3 quick kills and a great trade from Forrest. This is surely a round in the Ninja's favor. A 4-on-1. Make that 2 now.
And they haven't got the bomb planted either. Starting to make a move with Rez towards the B side of the mat. So Freeman has done so much work. Still 100% of his health. Still has himself a smoke and a flashbang. This round may have a couple more twists and turns in it yet.
The fact that he has 100 health is important. This is a winnable 2-on-1, or 1-on-2, I should say. Looking for that peek. Waiting for it with the AUG. They double peek towards lane, and he's found one. Somehow he's been able to isolate it. Rez using the noise perfectly. Headshot to the side, and NiP get their 6th, but that was way more difficult than it seemed like it was going to be.
Very unfortunate for Freeman. He just wasn't expecting 2 players to be stacked. Thought the second maybe on catwalk, maybe ramp. Was pushing aggressively to try and beat the peak.
That was a sick round from Lekro, and they almost let it slip away. Talked in the pre-show about how quiet he's been and how impactful he's been for the Ninjas at time. This was good. He saw his opportunity and he went for it. That happened so fast that Zoking wasn't able to react to the situation.
I'm so happy to say we've actually got a game on our hands here, Moses.
That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Here we go. Dennis legged now. He's going to have to back away. He wanted to go for an aggressive peek.
Four-player stack on A. In the meanwhile, this leaves Freeman alone with an AUG looking at box halls. Flashbang into Pop Dog, gonna have a peek here. This is gonna backfire though. Get Right was not affected by that at all.
Staring into the wall. Smart play from Get Right. They might be able to catch Freeman. This is a pretty bold play. Now holding an off angle, but he'll have a quick flank down the ladder. It's only Dennis with 19 HP. 3 players defending the A bomb site for VICI, and they're far back. 2 players in connector, including the op. Allman's in a bit of a weird situation because Freeman is so far pushed up. He doesn't exactly seem to know where he wants to go. Oh, Dennis is going to get dropped here.
Pretty comfortably. Has found out some intel, but doesn't really tell NiP a great deal. Only saw 1 player in box halls. Now going to smoke outside of Ivy. Advent feels like he may have to push through here. Flashbang in his eyes. Can hear the footsteps though, but now Forrest goes in. Here comes Advent from the backside, but Get Right's watching his teammates' backs. And that's going to give the advantage to NiP, but there's 15 seconds left, and Kaze is struck, dealing the fatal blow to Lacro. Bomb sprawls out. 10 seconds now, and Freeman is on the move. Can he get the drop on the first play? Yes, he can. Spray is not on point, and Get Right, as he has so many times through the years, is going to dig NiP out of a deep ditch.
Impact kills. That last one obviously winning the round, but it's the route he runs after he goes towards inner. He goes back towards mid, and he's pushing up that first lane, and he's able to get the trade as the Ivy defender comes through the smoke, and that was the big one. Because that player coming through the smoke had 2 kills free until Get Right shut him down, was only able to get the 1. All tied up, and in this last round, a scattered buy for VICI. P250 on Almond, Scout on Freeman, SMG on Advent, and Zoking.
Dennis tries his hand with the AWP, not going to connect. In the meanwhile, Zoking's going to make a move into Pop Dog with his MP9. Haven't really seen VICI play aggressively in terms of flanking. Seen a couple of moments where they pushed Ivy, but that's about it. No one trying to get through main. We're going to see this flash into peak again. Forrest not really in position to go for it yet.
Well, we have seen some aggression, remember, from VICI. They've had a couple of those rounds where they pushed 2 down Ivy to peak alley, and they've just been shut down each and every time they've done it, unfortunately. It hasn't gotten them anything, and it seems to be what they want to rely on. Oh dear.
Well, that's payback for Kaze's team kill earlier, I guess.
Is Lecco going to check this, though? Yes, he is. I think he spotted maybe a barrel. Advent saw his as well. Molotov going to force Zoking back, and is it going to spread? No, but all of his teammates are dying. Good shots from Rez. Good awareness. Kaze out in the open. He's got to wheel his way around E-Box. Get Right's got that one. Now watching the flank. He's ready for Alman, and he's going to have not a kill. Not yet.
Alman on borrowed time is going to find the kill onto Get Right. It's a 1v2. Only has a P250 to his name. He would desperately love to grow a few meters on those arms and pick up the AK, but it's not going to be happening. And the Ninjas will take the lead going through to the second half.
8-7 on their map pick, the opening map in this series. We mentioned there's no more mistakes to give if you're the Ninjas trying to move on to the Legends stage with the Legends in their lineup. An impressive first half. We'll see how the second one goes when we return from the break.
And I'll take it, yeah. Reminding myself to just let go. Don't wonder how far I can fall. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never look down, never fade out. Never fade out. Don't look down, never fade out. And I just wanna be someone and never fall behind again. Just keep on moving on. Never
8-7 lead for the Ninjas, transitioning over to the CT side of Train. It's Forrest and Rez leading the way, but it's Freeman and Allman on VICI Gaming that are lighting up the scoreboard. 20 kills for Allman, 16 for Freeman, but they still find themselves with a 1-round deficit. And if they want to win this map in regulation, they have to get 9 rounds on their T side. That is a tall task.
Especially against the Ninjas on their pick of map. This is going to be a rough one. And Allman also 132 ADR. It's unbelievable that VICI are actually trailing at this stage, but this pistol could be everything. If NiP can pick this up, it's going to give them a great platform to build off on their CT side. VICI Gaming, in the meanwhile, sending 4 players strong over towards the B side of the map. Going to actually be dropping the bomb, so a bit of a declaration of intent. We're not going to see any early aggression for the time being. Going to be feeling this one out first.
Far back on the defense. Tennis wants this fight, though. The USP reigns supreme at this range. No continued aggression, though, as VICI shows just one player. They're spread across the map. They don't want to commit to anything just yet. Rez is going to hear all this jumping, now sees the feet, takes a shot, tags him, and that's going to let VICI know equally that he's here. Rez has to be careful. Double drop coming down, an immediate headshot, but Freeman gets an important trade.
Now the bomb has been picked up, going to make a move straight towards the A side. Molotov to the back, making sure no one can peek from the right side of the site, allowing the terrorists to funnel their way centrally, directly to the heart of round 16. Kaze is going to be picking up a couple, but it's by and large going to be going the way of NiP for the time being, as Forrest is going to land himself too as well, leaving Allman to try and repel the onslaught, try and cave in these CTs. Forrest is feeling it. That's 3 kills with the USP, and NiP will pick up the second pistol.
Forrest wants that legend stage so bad. That is a really nice pistol round. One thing that NiP lost track of was that one player coming along that first alley, along the wall, able to wrap onto the bomb site and find Get Right. That almost opened the round up, but spectacular shots from Forrest. 3 kills. Both pistols now going... Oh, no, excuse me. They didn't win the pistol in the first half, did they?
VICI did. I believe VICI did, yeah. So it has gone even.
I take it all back.
That is crisp aim from Forrest.
Takes his face off. Timeout, VICI. Second round of the second half. There had been no timeouts used in that first half. VICI wants to talk some things over, and with that plant, I mean, they're all sitting right around 3,000, so they could go for some kind of force-up. That'd be a big gamble, though. Down 7-9 on your T side on the harder half of Train. If you're going to invest early, you better make damn sure you win that round. It's so crazy to me that Allman and Freeman are just dominating the server. They still find themselves 2 rounds down. 21 kills for Allman, 130 ADR. 17 kills for Freeman, 112 ADR. The most on NiP is Forrest with 15, and the highest ADR is 89 on Forrest.
I don't want to single a player out, but unfortunately, Advent's on the other side of the coin. 3 and 10 with 25 ADR only.
Yeah, I guess that does even things out, doesn't it?
That's going to be a bit of an issue.
Well, they don't go for the full investment. Deagles, 4 of them, a P250 on Advent as well with the utility. Good utility damage, or good initial damage from NiP on Allman and Zoking. Even Rez is able to grab Freeman down to half HP. Is by not doing a whole lot for VICI quite yet.
VICI gonna be limping their way towards A main at this stage. A bunch of injured players. NiP don't really need to do anything at this stage. They've got every angle covered. They've got the advantage. See no grenades being used just yet. Flashbang gonna be flying over towards the E-box. It's a triple spray. Rez is gonna get 2. Forrest alongside him with 1. And the round is over in a heartbeat. 10-7.
Yeah, that one flashbang can't do enough to both having a player at E-box with an M4 and the UMP and ladder room. Good round from NiP. How much are they going to upgrade here? They know the buy is coming out, especially with that plant and the pistol, but they still have 2 UMPs and actually a scout on Lekro, so maybe feeling like they have enough advantage to where they can risk playing 1 round with a couple lesser weapons. So there's actually a pretty decent opportunity, as Kaze has an AWP, 4 AKs around it on this attacking side.
Ooh. In terms of firepower, VICI certainly a step ahead, but the early trade going to go back and forth.
It's pretty cool. NiP puts both UMPs to get aggressive, and oh, Forrest comes right in. The aim punch, though. Kaze got drilled. And now they're going to try and trade that out as Forrest slowly backs away, but Dennis up above is providing cover. NiP, they have everything figured out. 2 kills for Dennis, and the op on Ullman is going to get 1 kill, but what more can he find?
It's not looking good, is it? Well, there's the answer instantly. 11-7, and VICI, off the back of their full buy, have been silenced again. Barely anything to invest in this round. Some pistols, probably not much else.
It almost feels like they maybe felt a lot of pressure and sped up that strategy. As soon as that push towards inner came, they just booked it down ladder and just attacked, right? There's a minute and a half left, and all these VICI players are just stringing out. No one's blind. There's no smokes to block off these AUGs. Maybe a little bit rushed, which is understandable considering the situation they're in. Nice shot from Lekro. He's going to back away. He's got Get Red on the lower ramp to try and slow things down, but Lekro is safely out of there. So man
Woman who originally was going down to Pop Dog to try and get some kind of a flank in play because they've lost the first player, decides to try and bolster up the box all side. Dennis is going to see action momentarily. Is always going to go his way. Not a single point of health has been lost for the Swedes. And VICI eyeing up the very real possibility of a 5-round deficit, but Forrest has been plucked out, courtesy of Orman. Some good movement to actually survive and keep the AK, but just delaying the inevitable.
Look at Advent. Snake in the grass. Gonna wrap around. He wants to find Dennis. Not gonna go for the knife, even though he had his back turned. Just wants the kill. Now he's got the AUG. What more can he do? If he can open something up for Kaze, that'd be massive. There is a player, Reds, that you could see him backing off. He was overexposed at E-Box with no one to watch his flank, and I don't think they have any idea where Advent went. Now they know. Now they certainly know. Kaze with 1, and it's a 2-on-2. They do have control of the bomb as well, but NiP can rotate pretty quick.
NiP, how have you got into this position? You were commanding this round, 25 seconds, and it should still go their way, but the damage has been done, and Get Right, honestly, was pretty close to death himself at the end. So NiP will get a 12-7 lead, but far too close for comfort.
Yeah, smart play from Advent, just staying posted up. Reading that Get Right was going to swing with him, just knowing there could possibly be a second player there. 7-12, though. VICI still not able to get any production on their offense, and they're going to call a timeout. Another buy coming in with the AKs, and you might as well use your timeouts while you've got them on this map. It's slowly getting out of reach, but they did great damage to the economy of NiP, so they cannot let this opportunity slip away. If they want a chance of coming back in this, making a run, stealing the map away, or forcing overtime, they need to get on the winning ways right now.
It's cool to see NiP as well, a team that is pretty versatile when it comes to their AWPers. You sometimes see Dennis pick it up, Forrest, Lekro. Depends on how they're feeling on the given game, I guess. Kind of hard to anti-strat, though, I'd imagine, if you're trying to figure out how to play against NiP.
Keeps things spicy.
Well, here we go. Let's see if VICI can bounce back. It is 4 unanswered rounds on the CT side for Ninjas and Pajamas. And if VICI lose this, it could be the beginning of the end for Train. No quick play.
First step for VICI is they need to force Rez out of ladder room at some point. He's been in there the majority of this half. Was there a pistol round? Was there the ensuing round with the UMP? Been in there a couple times with the guns. Ladder room is so critical to a terror side that's able to help them maneuver between the bomb sites. Get them out of tough situations quickly.
NiP have expended quite a bit of their grenades already, though. Rez is able to hold the line with 2, shutting down the A main push. And also Pop Dog. Exquisite play by Rez, single-handedly closing this round off. And now Freeman has the tenuous task of even doing a bit of damage in this round now.
I'd have to watch that back, because I don't think Rez had any utility left when that hit came in, but it looked like the ladder players threw that Molotov down to try and force Rez away from ladder room, but it was so mistimed with that hit outside that the player above ladder couldn't actually drop to help them get out mid. Rez was just able to kind of get a bunch of free kills.
That's an awkward flash. Just destroyed himself.
Yeah, it is kind of uncomfortable. Rez gonna grab a new angle. Immediate headshot. Great round from Rez. You can see the strength of that position, not only holding ladder room, but able to help out in mid as well with very good effect. 13-7. NiP with a 6-round lead. And 5-0 run on this CT. I just muted myself halfway through a sentence.
Classic. And also, to just add a little bit of salt in the wounds, their economy's not fantastic. They're going to be able to force a buy of AKs, but a couple of players are going to be a bit low on utility. Galil picked up on Kaze and Alman. 3 smokes, a couple of Molotovs. One's just been tossed out towards the Ivy side. Which doesn't give them many options, though. Starting to snake their way towards the B side of the map. And Get Right is starting to make a move back. He does have an AUG, though, so again, long range is going to be on his side.
Ooh, Dennis. Feast or famine. They jump down. He's a little bit blind. Can't hit the first shot. He's got to transition. Alman's got a kill. That's finally Rez taken in ladder room, but Dennis is going to follow things up. 3 players here at the center site for VICI. Get Right hasn't been able to get into the action just yet. Molotov out, maybe force Freeman into the open. It's Zoking they've got to worry about. He's close up. He can be such a hindrance to this retake for NiP. There's Get Right burning him alive, checking the corner as well. Get Right's got 2.
Freeman and Orman, what can you get done? No grenades to counteract the push. Both of them on the lower side. Freeman's going to go 1 for 1, and Lekro re-peaks, gets his second, and Ninjas in pajamas will move 14-7 in the lead.
Everyone performing well for NiP. You have to think of Rez and Force as kind of the driving force of this team, but Dennis, Lekro, and Get Right are playing very solid. Not a whole lot of openings for VICI to exploit in this defense. Get Right pushing up on the high train, the oil tanker, finding 2. Alman has 25 kills now. He leads the server.
And yet this team are getting battered 14-7.
Yeah, that always hurts.
This must be what ELO hell feels like. This could be their last chance, Moses, to mount a significant real comeback. If not, we're heading to Inferno. Is their choice of map? Zoking gonna try and take matters into his own hands. Doesn't care about the smoke, he's just gonna push. We haven't seen this kind of aggression too many times from the Asian team. Maybe he's gonna get rewarded.
I think he will. This will be interesting. I don't know, he might have missed his chance, but I don't think they'll expect it whatsoever. I don't think they would have thought that anyone would have pushed through that smoke in mid. No one's really acknowledging that this is a possibility. Forrest backing away. Rez on just the other side of that outcropping, but Forrest has an eye on that choke point, that gap in the trains. It's all about timing for Zoking. Still hasn't made his move. Outer train yard, this A bomb site, under a lot of pressure.
Zoking's been spotted. Rez should be going for the peak, but Kaze lends his teammate a hand, and Zoking will be getting a second in this trade. Dennis finally does stand up for Ninjas and gives VICI a bit of an issue, but that has been rectified. And as now they're going to procure the bomb plant onto the site. VICI going to decide to push aggressively afterwards into connector, but Get Right was laid waiting with his AUG. 2-on-2. Up in the air, really anybody's round. There is a bit of utility for Ninjas in Pajamas, nothing for VICI. Blackro's going to see if verticality will bring him victory. Oh, the shot onto Advent. Impressive reaction speed. Alman now is going to go down to the same hands. Lekro's on a tear. And Ninjas in Pajamas have an 8-round lead.
VICI's got it. Their players just have to be scratching their head. First, Get Right on the defense outlurks that player trying to flank in, and that Molotov in towards Z just completely ruins VICI's day. He was the last member alive to stop that. A great retake and a 2-on-3. Lekro with the AWP making it look easy. VICI just have no answers for this NiP performance. They do at least get the bomb plant. They had the full losing bonus. That extra $100 is going to help them out with utility. So another chance, but the idea of them winning 8 in a row just seems like a fairy tale at this point.
It really does, which is kind of a microcosm of VICI at this major. A fairy tale is dangling in front of them, the idea of qualifying to the next stage.
I believe we call it a Cinderella story.
Sure do, but this one may not have a happy ending.
Oh dear. Oh my. Resin Force have an idea. Dennis with the off angle as well. It's a slaughter. No ability to trade those kills. Oh, he almost just dropped a Molotov at his feet. And Rez takes off the head, and this is going to be a quick finish for NiP. It's going to be 16-7. The Ninjas will take us to map 2.
0 rounds won from VICI on their T side. This is a NiP that we haven't quite seen yet this tournament. And there's going to be many happy Swedes out there after Fnatic fell earlier.
Yeah, it felt like communication was on point. Obviously, the individuals there. Rez finishes with 23 kills, 13 deaths. Force was the one who was really kicking off early. A couple big kills over towards Ivy, and VICI, they get stopped cold. That's just map 1. When we return, we're going to have the desk talk us through that domination from NiP, and then we'll get on to Inferno.
Think you can't clutch through a smoke while recording in full resolution and streaming the play to the world? Watch this. Counter-terrorists win. Think you can't get famous in a flash? Like become your own meme famous? Watch this. Think he's been there, done that? With Intel Core i7, he's just getting started. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Prepare for combat. Go forth and conquer.